Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Asherz, and this week we have our other co-host here finally, Kenzie.
Woo!
Oh my god, you made it on the show.
I know. It took me forever, but I got here.
It's okay. It's just been guests. In all fairness, it's not entirely your fault. It's life. It happens. But
Yep.
I'm excited. You are actually going to be you're able to sit in on the final guest of the year for the show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It is the final guest for the year and the final guest for a while, probably.
It sounds really ominous.
It does. It sounds very scary. It's not. It's just that the listeners know we don't normally do guests here, especially not to this capacity. So this is the final guest show, and who do we have on this week? It's Monique and Joss from Fright Life Paranormal Podcast. How are you guys?
Hello.
Hi, we're doing great. How are you?
Well.
Super excited to have you both here. I really like the heck out of you and what you do. So,
Thanks. Same goes for you guys, and we are so happy to be here.
And super honored to be the final guest of the year.
Yeah,
that's
look at that. Just
badass.
wrapping up the year with you. That's perfect.
I think it's a great choice. You saved the best for last, so that's
love it.
That's what I wanted to do.
We'll see. We'll see.
Love that confidence. Perfect. Anyway, I guess we'll start with why don't we start with the guests? What have you guys been up to in your lives lately? What's going on with you?
Just constantly in a state. Well, Monique is anyway in a state of researching and writing, and looking for that next perfect story to cover on the podcast.
Yeah, so podcasting. We've been kind of doing some work with the Historical Society in our area. We're just sort of coming out of the insanity that was, quote, spooky season. We did a lot of things. We were part of an investigation in one of the historic blocks of our town. So really just sort of now we're shut in for the Yule season and doing our work from our living room and not really interacting as much. But we were pretty busy there for a while, mostly with the historic homes in our area and getting involved in the museums and things like that.
Very cool. Very cool. No, I love that. Well, and that's how it is for me. In the wintertime, it's very much desk work because it's cold in Ohio and it's the holidays. I can treat myself. I don't have to do everything all the time. So it is kind of nice to have that break in the season and just kind of focus on doing research at home and bookwork and things like that. Super excited because you guys did do a lot of episodes back in October for the podcast. That was wow.
That was crazy. I don't know how you do all you do and weekly because I just can't. So
because I'm insane, so I don't suggest it.
We like to give ourselves every other week, so there's plenty of time to prep and research
but we're still pushing it.
Yeah,
we're like, sorry guys, so kudos to you for sticking to it because that was difficult to do in every week in October.
It's it can be. Yeah, it can be. And sometimes it's not very good, but no. I still manage somehow. I don't know how, but thank you.
No, we love it. You are great.
Oh, and then I'm doing 3 more shows on top of that, which everybody's going to hear soon. So I got problems. It's fine. This is my life, this is what I do. And this is constant. I'm always talking about something anomalous with somebody somewhere. So it's just a part of it now. So, I don't know. You got to do what you love, So.
Right. I love it. But I have that issue as well where we started this as a hobby and now I'm like, okay, let's branch off in all these ways. We need to make it our main gig. And so, I'm the one who turns our hobbies into business. So,
and that's how I do things that I like to do is that, I don't have hobbies. I take all of my hobbies and I turn them into some type of job. Even so what I've been up to still, and this was kind of a shoot off from last week's episode is, so I have made the ultimate list of Christmas movies. Okay. And if you follow me on Facebook or or X Twitter, you'll see that I've been posting these little mini reviews. I've been watching all of these Christmas movies, and I mean like nonstop Christmas movies all day long. And, I can't just like sit down and watch a Christmas movie. I have to turn it into, well, how can I make this something relevant for social media?
Yeah.
So now I'm doing like these little mini reviews, which it's still fun, right? Because then I get other people's opinions involved, and but I'm kind of on like the hunt to make my own traditional Christmas movie list that I watch every year. And so it's been, kind of definitely a passion project. I'm not getting paid to do it.
Right.
But it's like I said, I can forgive myself doing this by turning it into some type of business. So I understand.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Love that. We love Christmas movies. That's our thing. It's like every night when it's time to wind down, it's sort of narrowing down which one is correct for this specific night.
Yeah. I haven't seen your reviews, but I'm excited to check that out.
Yeah, they've just been, well, I haven't been putting them on Instagram, mostly because it's annoying because the format doesn't like movie posters.
Right. Okay.
Maybe I will post them over there. Why not?
Well, you should.
Yeah, they don't like them. So I don't know. And I don't know what I'm going to do with them all. I thought about it. I'm like, maybe I'll write an article. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
Like my least favorite to my
cool.
most favorite. We'll see.
I love that idea.
Rank them.
But yeah, I mean, but I have really bad ADHD, so my TV is always on. Like I always have to have background noise.
Yeah.
I'm a crazy person like that. So they're just on all the time. And sometimes I can't get into them. I don't watch them at all. Sometimes it's just kind of, it's stuff I've seen before anyway. So it's just kind of on. So it's been very interesting. So, Kenzie, what have you been up to? You had a baby this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, but not like that. Not a human baby. It's like that. Don't say it like that. I don't have a human baby. We adopted a kitten. She's a little tiny gray and white tabby. Her name is Jade. She's very cute. And we're very excited to have brought her home. My boyfriend and I have spent the whole weekend playing with her. It's been really nice. She's been getting socialized with my older cat. I have a 13-year-old black cat. She's got these big green eyes. Her name is Molly. So we've been spending the weekend kind of getting them together, trying to make peace in our house. We also have a golden doodle, and he's very interested in the kitten, and she does not have those same feelings. So it's a lot going on in my household right now, but it's all cute, so there's no complaints. But
that's amazing. That's awesome. No, that's very exciting. I understand. My cats are 13, so I haven't had a kitten since, in 13 years.
Yeah.
And man, they're shitheads.
Yes, they are.
They're fucking terrible. And and I had a child, and I'll tell you, as a parent to an actual human being, and animal, kids too, the kittens were worse than the baby.
Yeah. They really are something. I came home from work yesterday and I was so hungry. I sit at the table, I have my little leftover pizza and I start to eat it. I had a can of soda and the kitten gets up on the table and we're trying to keep her from doing that, which is impossible.
Yeah.
But she jumps up on the table. I go to pick her up and her nail got stuck on the tablecloth.
Oh,
so
man.
She pulled it up with her and knocked my soda all over the table, which included all over my plate of pizza. So it soaked all of my food in Pepsi.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, so I guess I'm not going to eat this pizza because now it's soaking wet. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll try to eat something else. I throw something together real quick and I shit you not, the same thing. Again, I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm not destined to eat lunch right now. So I just gave up on it for a little bit and waited till she took a nap.
That's probably a good idea. Yeah, no, they're awful. I always said, my baby wouldn't try to get behind my TV and chew up the wires. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And if you have a Christmas tree in your house, that's danger zone with cats
so
for sure.
Bad. Well, my older cat does not care about the Christmas tree at all. She looks at it once, acknowledges it's there, and then moves on with her life. But the kitten we've been having to take her out of it because she's trying to climb up into it. We're like, that's not a good place for a cat. Get out of there. She's knocking ornaments over. She's broken 3 things since we brought her home on Friday night. So
oh no,
just like we knew what we signed up for, but we are dealing with the consequences of it.
It is. Just like anything else, you'll miss it when it's over. One day they get old, and you're like, man, you used to be exciting.
Yeah. When I had a moment the other day when I was feeding the kitten, where I adopted my older cat when she was about 8.5. So she's always been an adult cat to me. And I had a moment the other day, I was feeding the kitten, and I kind of got a little teary-eyed, and I was like, it's really sad to me that I'll never get to see my sweet old lady as a little kitten. And I was like, but, on the bright side, I have Jade. I can watch her grow up. And, one day these memories of her being a terror will be just memories. And I won't have to stress about it.
One of these days, yeah. It is really exciting. It is, and I've done animal rescue and fostering, so I've had kittens short term. Actually, my one cat, I have 2 boys, and my one cat makes a great surrogate mother. I don't know why. He loves them. He loves kittens, and so for a long time, I was kind of the go-to, but I never really kept them long. I didn't want to do bottle feeding, so they were here until they got a home, then they left. And so, but yeah, it's, it can be a lot. It's a lot of responsibility, but God damn it, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Worth it.
It makes it all worth it.
For sure.
It doesn't, it doesn't matter. Do you guys have animals?
So we have a dachshund named Potter. He's amazing. We did adopt 2 cats when we were in college because they were brothers, and we had no forethought. We were just like, look at these cute cats for adoption, and they're brothers, so we have to get them both. And that was a nightmare. I mean, we love them, but they destroyed all of our furniture, and they were just hellions. But they were so much fun. We eventually had to rehome them just to someone we knew, so it was not, any kind of drama, but we missed them, and they moved to a beautiful apartment in France. So they're living their best lives.
Oh.
Yeah. And they are, they were so much fun, but we had to move to a space that didn't allow pets for a while. So they got to go and jet set though. And they're with a wonderful, wonderful girl, Christy, who takes fantastic care of them. So she sends us
that's nice.
Great pictures of them just being French cats now.
Do they wear berets now?
They should.
Their names were Alfie and Roscoe to begin with, which seemed sort of very
like
European moped driving names.
You should be smoking a cigarette and eating a croissant.
Riding around in Vespas and they're living it up. So
I know, good for them.
Yeah.
Jealous. Yeah, I have 2 cats. People assume that because I have 2 cats, I am a cat person. I'm not. I'm an animal person. It's just that my cats won't let me have other animals. And so I had them first. So I live vicariously through other people's animals. I also have 2 part-time dogs, but they're my mom's dogs, but she works a lot. So I take care of them a lot. And that I get my dog fixed. Dogs are a lot more difficult for someone like me who travels a lot and goes away a lot. And, the cats, I can leave for the weekend and they're going to be fine.
Right. Yeah.
Dogs, unless it were dogs that I could take with me, they're not going to be happy about me leaving for the weekend. So, and I'm not going to be happy when I get back. But anyway, so, kind of getting into, I guess, the news here. I don't have news this week, you guys. I've been busy with Christmas, so I didn't really research it at all. It's fine. I can do that. So next week, there'll probably be a lot more news. Double the news next week. Watch, next week's going to come around. There's not going to be fucking anything going on. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, you can do old news.
I'm going to do old news. That's a good idea. I'm just going to go and read off headlines from Weekly World News.
Yes.
Because
bring back Bat Boy.
Exactly. Yeah. So we
need him.
We'll figure we need Bat Boy. In these times, we need Bat Boy.
These trying times, may I offer you some Bat Boy?
We all could use a little Bat Boy. I understand. Could you imagine if you could adopt a Bat Boy? Like that's
I would in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even think about it.
Right. Like that would be a no-brainer. Like I will fucking figure that. I don't know what it eats, but I'll figure it out. Like it's fine.
It's a national treasure.
Is it the same Bat Boy that's been like, or are there multiple Bat Boys throughout the? So is he now like a Batman? Or
I think, in my personal opinion, I don't think he ages. I think it's like a. You ever seen Kyle XY? Do you remember that show? About the
I do.
About the man with he had no belly button and
yes,
he was a weird alien.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But he didn't age. I think it's like that situation.
Yeah, I like it.
That's perfect. I was going right to Kirsten Dunst in Interview with the Vampire, but
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Perpetual.
Yeah.
That's probably a little bit more of a tragic story than Kyle, the alien boy. But
I was obsessed with that show when I was a kid. I thought that show was the coolest thing ever. And now looking back on it, I'm like, I guess that says a lot about the person that I am, for sure. Because no one can be surprised by who I am now based on the fact that Kyle XY, a show about an alien kid with no belly button, was my favorite show as a kid.
So there was this show that I used to watch, and I can't find it now for the life of me. And it's not Teen Wolf, but it was about a teenage wolf. Like a teenage werewolf. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it's not Teen Wolf because it was definitely like early 2000s was like its peak. Like it wasn't, so it's not older. Try to find it. It was on whatever Freeform used to be. I don't remember. Maybe
CW?
No. Freeform used to be, I think it was like ABC Family, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. But it was, that was my shit. That was like, but it was like, of course it was in the peak of like Buffy and Charmed and, it just kind of got lost. And then, like 2 years later, Kyle XY,
Was it Big Wolf on Campus?
It might have been Big Wolf on Campus.
It's just a phase I'm going through.
That's sounds really familiar. That sounds really familiar.
It was 1999 to 2002.
That is probably it.
It's a pretty good run, actually.
Yeah,
but he was like
7 seasons.
He was like a teen. Yeah, he was like a teenager turned into a wolf. I don't know. That's what he did.
Yeah, I think it's probably this.
He kissed girls or whatever. Sometimes, that was his life.
Good for him.
And I watched.
What a good life.
It was a good life.
Not solving mysteries or fighting monsters. It's literally just like he turns into a wolf and then turns back and then kisses girls, and that's the episode.
And then kisses girls. Yeah. No, sometimes he was kissing as a wolf, and he wasn't. I don't. I'm making that up. Well, he might have. I don't remember.
That sounds dangerous.
But that's. Anyway, I understand. I used to also be into really weird shows that nobody else has heard of or watched. So.
Oh yeah, same for sure.
This is like one of the key characteristics of being like a fucking weirdo at an early age.
Yeah.
Is watching the most bizarre TV that no one has ever heard of. You have no one to talk about it with.
Yeah.
And just being like, I don't know. I can't explain the plot to you.
I love it because people will, like, if I talk about it on this show and I don't remember the name, like there was the MTV show Fear that I used to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a game show where they like participate in like these, like the places are allegedly haunted and they go in and they have to like, I don't know, spend 10 minutes inside of a grave or something. And
inside of a grave?
Yeah.
Buried alive.
Like dig up a grave and you just have to crawl into it?
Yeah, they have 10 minutes to dig it up.
That's deranged.
And then they won like $1,000 or something. It's for
That's
some
not worth $1,000.
Such a low prize.
Well, it's MTV,
$1,000 for tons of trauma.
Here's $10 and a medium cheese pizza.
Yeah.
That's actually, I think, a better deal. At least they're feeding you.
Right, at minimum, but it was it was super, it was way before like ghost hunting shows and stuff were like a thing, and or maybe it was like right when they started being a thing, but yeah, I remember watching. I watched the shit out of that show, and we talked about it on the show one time and I couldn't remember what it was called. I'm like, it's like a game show and the places are haunted, and somebody had messaged me, a couple people were like, oh, that's Fear, it's MTV's Fear, and I'm like, I love you guys. So it's great to have. So anyway, Kenzie, you'll be getting messages about Kyle XY, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I hope. I need the Kyle XY fan club to hit me up. Let's talk about it. I'm going to find it on streaming.
Roswell. Didn't they also have no belly buttons?
Did they not have belly buttons?
I don't remember.
Or am I just remembering Kyle XY?
Maybe a cross, yeah.
Seems like it was kind of the same. Yeah. We need to know.
Perfect.
Roswell TV show. But belly buttons? Question mark.
Right. Somebody answer this. I know you guys know. I was thinking about Roswell just this week because I'm like, everybody talks about like X-Files. Nobody ever talks about Roswell.
That's a great show.
That was solid. We enjoyed that.
Right. And then they had come back. I never saw their comeback, but they had done like a new they had reunited. I don't know what they did, but anyway. So yes, I'm glad that other people know about Roswell because I was feeling very alone. Oh my God, we're bonding. It's great. I love this.
That's what it is. No belly buttons?
I'm going to have my belly button removed just because.
What I found is I got like the information on the pilot episode and it specifically mentions a singular belly button.
Okay.
So there's at least one belly button present, but
in the show.
Yeah, just one.
They have to share it.
One collective belly button.
They have to share it.
Like they take it off and pass it around each other. Like here, it's your
do that. How does that even happen?
It's magnets. Don't look too far into it. It's just magnets.
That makes sense. Okay.
It's your day with the belly button. Okay, wow.
You're like,
this is
getting let me put my belly button on real quick.
Yeah.
I told you. It's going to... I tried to tell you.
You're going to get weird.
That's fine. That's what you're here for. So anyway, before we go any further, why don't you guys go ahead and just give a quick introduction, tell people who you are, what you do, that sort of thing.
Great. Yeah. So we are a duo of paranormal researchers. We have a podcast where we do sort of a deep dive into mostly known paranormal cases. We also get out and do some field work every once in a while when we can, in terms of, what are we doing? Ghost hunting, I
mostly
guess
ghost
is what
hunting,
the term would be. And we don't really share a lot of that part of what we do. We have it all like compiled and ready to, make into content, but we don't really put that out there so far. So mostly it's just the podcast. We put that out every other week. And we cover things from hauntings to conspiracies, UFOs, and everything that falls under the paranormal or Fortean category. And we love it. You can catch us on, anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website, which is just frightlifeparanormal.com.
Hell yeah.
It's it's a great show. I listen to it.
Thank you.
I don't of course I don't listen to a lot of podcasts because I'm most of the time making them, but I try. When I'm not watching Christmas movies, I guess is when
Yeah.
Same.
But I will say you guys have a great production value, to the show. Your music's good. It sounds really good. And in this day and age with podcasting, literally anybody can do it from their cell phone. So I think there's something to be said about the fact that you guys actually put effort into delivering a really good show. And, not just that, the information's really solid. You guys do a really good job researching and, getting to know these topics before putting them out there. So I love that. Of course, the last episode I listened to, and I did listen to it this week because I knew I'd have you guys on, was your most recent, the Jersey Devil episode. And 3 minutes into the episode, you guys immediately, talk about how there are people in this field that know more than you guys do about the Jersey Devil. And I love that because pride and ego is such a huge problem in this community.
Yeah.
And you guys just set it down. You're like, there's other people that physically research, go out and do the research on this stuff. And, we're just a podcast. And I love the honesty.
Yeah, so. we try. Thank you. We try to be really transparent about that. Cryptids aren't really our thing generally. We're super interested, but yeah, we will defer that to some of our friends who are in the field who we've gotten to know in this community. But yeah, I was nervous to cover cryptids because it's not really anything we've gotten into. I think early on, and so much about about Mothman. Early on, we covered Mothman, and I've like regretted it ever since because I'm like, it was like one of our first episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did we take such a huge case like when we were just getting started? But you know, it's all in good fun. And like I say, we definitely are transparent about like, hey, there's probably more out there. You may be able to contradict some of this, but I do what I can to research and cross-reference and, you know, figure out, you know, the quality of the sources and everything. So always with a grain of salt for sure if I can't physically be there to investigate it or back up my backups.
I think you did a really good job. I mean, you know, one mention that you had done in that episode in particular is, you know, you did talk about the Joseph Bonaparte sighting, which I feel like not enough people talk about when it comes to the Jersey Devil. And it's like the most credible piece of evidence out there. And it's like, why aren't people talking about this?
Right.
You know, but you guys you covered it. And so I was like, oh, okay. You know, so anyway, I think it was good.
Thanks.
You know, yeah, absolutely. You know, and I, it's not something that I have physically investigated. Never been to Jersey, not yet anyway. So I've never been to the Pine Barrens. So I probably knew just as much as you guys did. So, I mean, don't sell yourself short there in the information, you know. And I loved how you were like, you know, talking about camping and how you hated it. And that's fine.
That's so real.
It's not for us. Yeah.
You know, that's totally okay. And Joss is like, he's like, oh no, I hate camping. And then the music is like, dun dun.
Yeah. It's actually really funny. Our friend John he scored the kind of background ominous music that we have.
Yeah.
And you know, he's very musical minded, and he definitely recorded this thing with sort of a cadence to it. And it is mind-boggling to me because it seems like every episode there are moments where it's like exactly that.
Yeah,
like
magically lined up.
It just is
in
perfect.
The right
I don't edit it like that, honestly. Like it's just a loop that plays while I'm, you know, editing our voices is all that I really mess with. And so when those things line up, it's just like, I don't know. It's great. Yeah. I love it so much.
It's hilarious. I think it's fucking funny. And I love that. But yeah, no, it was, I mean, yeah, you can hear it. It's not, you know, the sound is just continuously going. It's definitely not, it's just perfect. It's just perfect placement, perfect timing.
Yeah.
So I think that is great. So you guys, you like to go and investigate haunted places, but you're not so much into the woods and stuff. Is
right.
that?
Right. Yeah. I grew up camping, and a lot of people blame me for the no camping thing, but it's actually Joss.
It's me.
Yeah. So they look at me and they're like, all right, you're going to wear your high heels out in the woods? No, probably not. So they assume that I cannot do that. And I don't love it now because Joss is always cranky when we're camping. So really it's his fault.
What it really boils down to is, I mean, if you've never met me in person, so you don't know, but I am a giant. I'm 6'4", and they don't make...
He's got a big wingspan and everything.
Yeah,
so.
Big arms, and I'm never comfortable camping. And my biggest thing is if I can't sleep properly, then I'm just grumpy. And so I think that's my biggest, like, I don't like it. I don't like being cold either. I feel like somehow it's like, it's me.
Joss is like, I can't wear my high heels, so I don't want to go.
He's the diva about the camping situation. But no, we do love to go into buildings, haunted buildings. We don't really do like the urban exploring though. We usually have someone who's got the keys to the places that we are investigating.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Like the safer approach to that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with not liking camping either. Like, I hate that. You know, I feel like in this community, there's like people that are like, if you're not in the woods every day and you don't smell like a man, then you're not a man.
Right.
I don't know where I was going with that. You know, it's really annoying. And, you know, as somebody, I haven't been able to really be out and do field research and, you know, since I was in the hospital last year. And, you know, it's not like I'm incapable. It's not like I haven't spent a ton of time. It's just that I am trying to make myself healthy again. And I'm not going to be healthy out in the woods for 3 days. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's just part of it. But how did you guys? Okay, so let's go back a little bit further. I don't think it's something you talk about a lot on your show anyway. How did you guys meet?
So we actually grew up in the same town, and we sort of knew the same groups of people. But we met when we were 15?
Yeah.
So a million years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And someone was actually introducing me to one of his friends so that I would go on a date with one of his best friends. And he instant messaged me on, what was it at the time? AOL Instant Messenger.
Oh, wow. That was
right? And he's like, I have to make sure you're cool enough for my friend. And I was like, first of all, whatever. Like, and second of all, you're cute. So we just started talking before I even met his friend and have been best friends and didn't really date right away, but
it took
about a year later. Yeah. And
does his friend know that
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, he put me up to it.
Yeah.
He specifically was like, okay, I need to know this. I need to know this. Like,
and then we let him know, like, it's actually going to work out with us instead. But he was good with it.
He was fine.
This friend was like, yeah, he was dating left, right, and center. So he was settled. Yeah.
I mean, I'm here for the tea if there's some tea. No, that's crazy. And then you guys have just been a thing ever since then.
Yeah, since high school. What, juniors in high school?
I was a senior. Yeah.
Okay.
You're older.
Were you both weird?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Both of us were like super into drama and plays and
so we were theater geeks. I was already into the paranormal, like heavily researching and trying to conduct seances and all of that. And yeah, he was like had the full bleach blonde, Liberty spiked hair.
Yeah, I was in a bunch of punk bands and like I followed Tom DeLonge's UFO obsession since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how I really got into the paranormal is first my dad introduced me to this show called Coast to Coast with Art Bell when I was really little.
I've never heard of that.
Oh man. It's if you don't know, then I don't know.
Like, well, you're in for a surprise. You got a real treat coming.
And and then after that it was Tom DeLonge and his obsession, and it was kind of a joke, but then it's like he presents it as kind of a joke, but really it's like, oh, he actually knows his shit. And like,
yeah,
it turned out that he was responsible for those UAP videos and stuff. So
well, and Joss would try to talk to me about that in high school and college, and I wasn't into the UFO thing. It was really just ghosts for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. But now I'm super into it.
Yeah,
that's
I think
awesome.
that's neat because, as somebody that's dated within the community, what I have learned is that you shouldn't date somebody who claims to know as much as you do about a topic, because even though they may be very knowledgeable about it, then you start kind of clashing and bumping heads. It's nicer to date someone who kind of has a different, it's still into the weird, but into something that you're not so into, so that we can kind of teach each other.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
And
that's
you can
one
bond
of my
over
favorite
that.
things about my boyfriend is that he doesn't know this is not his like area of interest at all,
right?
But he loves like hearing about things that I've learned or things that I'm really interested in, because it's all new to him. All of it's new, and then I get the satisfaction of telling somebody about this weird alien crash site in Texas 45 minutes from where we live for the first time, and seeing him be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then, it's a nice experience of like, I get to explain things to him that I wouldn't if he had an interest in this kind of stuff, because he'd already know. It kind of took the fun out of it.
Totally.
Yeah. That happens with our daughter. Well, the opposite of what you were just saying, where she'll come to us because she like follows these investigators on TikTok, and she'll be like, did you know about this? I'm like, yeah, Olivia, we literally just did an episode on that like 2 weeks ago. But she's not at all interested in what we're talking about because
that's
she's got
so
her
funny.
own. Yeah.
She's like, that's what my mom and dad like. I don't care about that.
Right?
But it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
My
so
daughter
funny.
just told me today, I think it was today, she just told me that in her writing class, she got to tell the class what a cryptid was. And I was like,
oh,
that's really neat. But if I try to talk to her about cryptids, we can't talk about it. So,
Yeah.
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 that's
about right.
But yeah, I think that is, neat that you guys have those similar yet opposing opinions about things. Not that you guys aren't necessarily interested. That's kind of what I try to tell people about. Like, my least area of interest is the paranormal. And it's not because I don't find it interesting. It's just that it doesn't really come up in my own research a lot. It does sometimes, and when it does, it's great, but it doesn't normally. And I've heard probably 1,000,001 stories of, I grew up in a haunted house. Great. Cool. So haven't 5 billion other people,
Right.
It's not that it's not interesting. I think I'm just desensitized to it now. I don't know. But I will still go and pack up my shit and go, to Waverly Hills or wherever. Like I'm interested in that, but I get it because like I said, you guys can kind of teach each other as you go and, you have your strong suits instead of like you both trying to tackle the same topic and, but actually each other constantly. So,
right. Well, and additionally, I'm more of a skeptic and Joss, it's just his like sweet nature and his trusting nature too. He just sort of wants to believe all of it and everyone that they're coming from like a genuine space. And I'm like, okay, who told you about this? And let me see all of the sources. And so I've got to kind of bring him back down. And usually I'm the Scrooge about it. But I love that too, because then he's introducing me to things that I maybe would have like negated right out of the gate. And then upon further inspection, maybe there's something to it.
Right. Have you guys ever had like, what's the biggest fight you've gotten into over a paranormal type of topic?
So we have this kind of running gag that is me looking at like a light from outside and then Monique going, it's not a UFO. And
it's constant. He'll stop doing everything.
Like mid-sentence, I'll be talking and then just like looking out the window.
Yeah.
She's, oh my God, it's not a UFO. And I'm just like one of these times it's going to be. And
yeah, but you want it too bad. So it's like, I'm actually irritated. Like you think that just it happens to be where you're looking right now. Like the number one thing you want out of life is just right there in the sky. So that's usually, but other than that, just little irritation. I don't think we've gotten in a fight over a topic. It's mostly fighting over, like the actual creation of the show.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, well,
yeah.
That makes sense.
It's so funny because Joss, you and I are cut from the same cloth for sure. Because I also want to believe that everything is real. I just think it's more fun to live in a world where everything is real.
Yeah.
But also, I do that so often that sometimes, like I live in Texas, and the area of Texas I live in, there's a lot of like military aircraft, like activity going on. They test a lot of stuff here, so there's a lot of stuff in the sky all the time, and there's a lot of planes too. And I'll be in the middle of a sentence when we're driving, and I'll just trail off because I'm staring at something in the sky, and I'm like crouched over in the car, like trying to look at it. And my boyfriend is like, "It's not a UFO, it's a plane." And I'm like, "But you don't know that." And he's like, "It's a plane. Relax."
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
but listen, that's how I am, and I have caught 3 UFOs on camera.
Yeah,
so,
that's amazing.
Keep being that way.
Yeah.
One of these times I'll get a
It
real
will
good
be.
one.
Yeah, eventually it'll be real.
Well, that's another part of that too, though, because he stares for so long and I will walk up and know exactly what he's doing. And I'm like, why don't you have your phone out? If you really think that it is, like, I don't think it is, but at least flip and record it for further
that's
analysis.
Very fair. That's very fair, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just get too stunned by it.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Oh
like,
my
because if it is the real thing this time, like, what am I looking at? And then you're like, well,
Right.
shit, maybe I should have taken a picture of that.
See, exactly.
I was taking our dog down to pee one night, and I caught the Starlight or Starlink,
Oh, the Starlink,
satellite
yeah.
launching, and I like froze. Like I was like, it's happening. Oh my God. Like I was like losing my mind. And then I ran upstairs and I told Mo about it. And then immediately she was like, and it's satellites. So and I was like, God dang it.
I really had to break that to him. That one got a lot of people, I think, though.
Yeah.
It still does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely does. For sure.
You know, I've been telling people if your kids are listening, don't let them listen. I'm going to say something forward, but I'll go ahead and do it. Tobias Whalen, the other co-host, he just wrote a new book about like just kind of holiday type of lore and folklore and where that comes from.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. And one of the things that I brought to his attention, somebody had told me that one of their friends swore that they saw Santa on Christmas Eve last year.
Aww.
And it was the Starlink satellite.
Oh,
that's so disappointing.
That's pretty good though.
He didn't tell him. He's like, I couldn't tell. He's like, I couldn't bear to tell him. You know. Yeah. He's like, it was Santa. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Like, that's a bubble you can't burst. You got to let that one just go.
Right. Right. And so I was telling Tobias about it. He had already written the book. He was in the editing process. I'm like, well, you know, part 2, my guy. That's.
Yep.
Is it Starlink or Santa?
Right. Which one? But yeah, no, that would get a lot
continues.
Of. No,
that sounds like a Weekly World News headline. To be completely honest.
We'll expect that one this year probably.
They're listening. They're gonna steal all our ideas.
Of course, they would be smart too.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, you know, it would give them lots to write about. So I don't know. But anyway, Starlink gets a lot of people, so don't feel bad. It is jarring when you see it and you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, I got a call from my bassist the other day, and she had been outside, and she was like, "Dude, I saw the craziest thing," and I was like, "It's the Starlink."
Yeah, been
and
there.
She was like, "Oh man," I was like, "But it got me too, so don't feel bad."
Yeah.
I know people will be like, well, no, it's not Starlink because it just disappeared. And I'm like, clouds. And then like, well, it was moving up and down. No, that's just depth perception. You know, they hate me for it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'd be bad at my job.
I just don't burst the bubble about it. I see, I follow a lot of Facebook pages that are like New Hampshire skylines and stuff like that because I miss my home state. And I see posts from, like, you know, nice old people that don't know about it all the time being like, oh my God, what is this? I caught a UFO. And they're so excited about it. And I'm like, it's not going to be me that bursts this bubble for you. Yeah. Somebody else can do it. Because you're so excited and I can't take that away from you.
I love that. Yeah, I just got I guess I could have shared this in the news. This past week I got a UFO video. And it actually is a very good video. It looks, I mean, it's in the day and it's like a silver flying disc.
Whoa.
And I love that. Classic flying saucer. Love that. You know, and it's from somebody that I trust, and he was like freaking out. I mean, he was like genuinely scared. And so, but he lives all the way in Florida. So, you know, what I would do first and foremost, of course, I'm waiting a couple days and then I'm going to go check the New Fork UFO reporting website, see if there's any other sightings that happened, because there should have been. But whether or not they were reported, we'll see. And then I'll go join like the local Facebook groups. So I'm in like all these Facebook groups of all these random cities. Just for stuff like this, because I mean, honestly, that's where you're going to get the information from about this stuff.
That's very true.
You know, and so, and people they'll report it. You know, it's how I get local sightings. They all know in my Facebook groups, they all know who I am.
Right.
And so, yeah. So now I'm a part of this weird Florida group, and man, you get into their drama and stuff. Let me tell you.
Oh man, yeah.
It's good. That's the best part about joining those weird Facebook groups is suddenly Shirley stole Karen's package off her front porch, and you're like, all right.
Okay.
This is the good
and
stuff.
she just tagged her. Let's check this out. I know it's terrible. Sometimes I'll go through and I'll see them and I'll be like, okay, I'm not working on that case anymore. I'm just going to remove. No, that was 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
But it is interesting. So what do you guys have experiences? Are you experiencers of any sort of anything?
Oh man.
Yeah, we have a few things. So Joss actually has a UFO video. Well, you know.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I don't super like sharing it because I just caught the tail end of it, and so I shared it on, I think, TikTok, and immediately people were like, it's an airplane. And I'm just like, well,
it changes directions is the
not
thing.
in the video though, is the problem. So I was driving and doing the thing where I'm like looking up in the sky, and I see this thing cruising sort of like diagonally upwards really quickly, and then it just stops and heads back in exactly the same direction that it was going. It didn't turn around or anything. It just like ping ponged back the other direction.
And it's during the day.
Yeah,
and
during
it's
the
silver day, glinting off the sunlight. And he fully pulled over to capture this.
Yeah, there's a video somewhere. I'm like in a parking lot just having a meltdown because of what I just saw. And then, but it's one of those things where like I know what I saw, and then I tried to get a video, and it's not the whole scope. So, it's not concrete enough. And that's something that, it's part of that thing where I tend to believe people because of my experiences, where I'm just like, I saw it. Like, why don't you just believe what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know, but it was cool, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Well, and then we've had just sort of like personal, like I'll smell my mom's perfume, little stuff like that. That's just, cute little things that I can't really have any data on. But we have experienced some things, and we do have data on a few things during investigations. And my favorite one happened last March during the Oregon Ghost Conference. We were investigating the Seaside Masonic Lodge. Yeah. And we were with another paranormal group. There were probably about 30 of us in there, which doing those huge investigations, you can't really, it's more for the experience and networking than getting real data because there's so many people moving around the space. But during this time, we decided to join forces, and everyone was just sitting in a silent circle in the middle of the first floor of this Masonic lodge. And our friend is using her audio recorder to get an EVP, and she asked a series of questions, and I'm filming just with my iPhone, and you fully see that there's a series of questions with no noise in between, and then she plays it back in real time, and I don't even stop my video in between. It's just all, one full shot. And the answer we get and the way that it's said is a direct response, so loud into the recorder and just chilling. And it's my favorite thing because I'm so skeptical of EVPs, and any that are presented during like lectures we've been a part of and classes and things. They're up for interpretation, and so often it's like just garbly sounds, and they're like, well, this says this, and I'm like, well, no, that's so up to interpretation. This was so clear, and we all heard it in real time, and I'm filming the whole time, so it's my favorite piece of evidence we've collected. And even like one of the best EVPs I've ever heard, even watching the ridiculous ghost hunter shows, the things they present on that like highly produced show, and we've gotten like a real solid one. So yeah,
that's sick.
That's my favorite thing. We were like chilled.
Yeah, there was a ton of activity happening like all around us while we were recording that too. There was like furniture dragging sounds happening, but we were all freaking out about the EVP, so it wasn't like.
Yeah, we didn't like register that there was a lot of noise happening upstairs.
Yeah.
You're like, put the fucking furniture down and come talk to us some more.
Exactly. Yeah. That was a cool night, man.
Yeah.
And probably one of the most interesting scenarios too, because of all the people that like we all witnessed exactly the same thing happen all together.
Yeah. Right.
And I don't know. It was cool. It's my favorite too, I think.
Yeah.
Very neat. Well, because you did say that you have all this video evidence and or all this stuff. Do you have plans to do something with all of it eventually?
Yeah, we do need to, spend more time kind of going over that evidence and creating some sort of content. Yeah, we'd love to release it. It's just, and we've thought about, do we do a YouTube channel where we've got a every other week podcast, and then we've got a monthly investigation. So we want to, but we did get a lot of the evidence before we even had the podcast. Yeah. So it sort of would be just backdating info, but yeah, we can still do something with it. We've caught quite a few things. Joss caught like chairs moving in my school. That's on video. We have this great audio. There's weird stuff that happens at my school. I don't know if I mentioned, I'm a preschool teacher. I own and operate a preschool. We have about 75 students. And it's in our hometown. Our hometown is historically, I mean, everyone's hometown is haunted, right? But we're the end of the Oregon Trail. So it's like we've got all that going on. And the space I'm in is in this area they talk about, like, we've got a 30-year flood, and there's like mentions of this curse, all this lore that leads up to it.
Interesting.
And so there's all this weird stuff that happens at my school down there, and the kids have gotten involved in it. So of course we don't talk about this in front of the preschoolers, right? But Joss has audio. We actually had video, but he turned it into audio because we can't show, other people's children on video clips. Yeah. But this kid is adamant about, he's like, who's that guy who just came in here? And of course that's a security issue. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Give me more information. Where did he go? And we have locked doors with key codes and everything. So like you can't get into the school unless you've got the code access. And he's like, the guy with the crazy hair, he went in that room, and he's pointing to the closet, and he describes this guy with a red sweatshirt and black crazy spiky hair, and there's just no one there. And so, yeah, we've got kids kind of seeing some things. I mean, nothing bad has ever happened there, but it's just enough to be creepy. My favorite thing that happens there is people will come up to me and be like, oh, you called me? Like, called out my name? And I'm like, nope. It's like, did you need me? You need me for something? And we think we see ourselves all the time. Like my staff and I. So we're in sort of a weird thing.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's not just regular haunting stuff.
What do you mean by you see yourselves?
So we will always catch little glimpses in the corners of our eye, and it'll look like, I'm like, that's weird. I just thought I saw somebody, but it looked like me. And my daughter thinks she sees people all the time. She's like, there's a girl here, but she looks just like me. And one of my staff members was like, weren't you just in the kitchen? I was like, no, I've been in my office this whole time. So just really weird. Like, I don't know if it's like time. It's weird. I haven't even looked into it enough because we're just living in the moment, and like
they're doppelgangers.
Man,
it's weird. It's the weirdest thing that happens there for sure.
That's so creepy.
Yeah. And they hear me like calling out to them about stuff. Once I had 3 staff members come up to me in a row, and I had just been silently sitting at the computer doing billing, not talking to anybody. Wow. So it's weird for sure.
That's really neat, though.
Yeah. The area is cool. Like our Wi-Fi drops out all the time. We don't get cell reception. I have a landline, and I've had Comcast come out like 3 different times because it's always crackly. We can't get anything like to work. All the plants die. It's really weird. Yeah. Oh yeah, the doors lock by themselves all the time. I mean, like basically
like a weird liminal space.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really
weird. So I don't know. That's the most interesting thing we've got going on. That's not really just the classic haunting kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, that is interesting. I guess I hadn't really thought about. I mean, I'm so far away from that side of the country. I've never really considered the fact that like there is a lot of tragic history there, and just history in general. And so I guess I didn't assume that they actually kind of played up on that locally. I don't know why I didn't, but
yeah, we've got a lot of crazy lore connected to that end of the Oregon Trail there. So. And we're right by space. They did a land dedication, but it was to the wrong tribes. They were trying to handle it and just failed miserably. Just a lot of weird. Yeah. So we try to honor the space and the land, but there's definitely some weird stuff going on.
Well, as researchers though, I mean, you guys have a great, little corner over there then, because it seems like everybody that's into the weird stuff is over here on the East Coast or the Midwest, like that, and that's it.
For sure.
You don't have a lot of people out in or at least I assume you don't have a very large paranormal community out there. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm wrong. But Bigfoot seems to be more the thing in that area.
Yeah. We've got the Sasquatch thing going for us. We're not too far from Mount Adams, where there are a lot of UFO sightings. We're only a couple hours from Mount St. Helens, where you've got the bat squatch sightings after
That's
the
cool.
Yeah. So we're kind of in the thick of all of that. And then, the end of the Oregon Trail. And for the history aspect of that, that's really what we've been working on is, we're in all these historic homes doing investigations and tying these stories and this lore to, what we're into the paranormal, just to get people kind of in the doors, but also like to get them into preserving these spaces and, dedicating the land properly and really working on that as well, which isn't really the paranormal side, but I enjoy it just as much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
definitely
really
a part of it,
right?
So that is really neat. So, is there? I mean, have you guys come across a pretty busy paranormal community in that area?
We have our own small little group, and we do the Oregon Ghost Conference every year, and that's a pretty good following. But no, most people we generally come across are Texas, Florida, and sort of East Coast area.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really. I mean, not as huge as we've seen, elsewhere.
Yeah.
Do you guys have? It's just kind of switching gears a little bit, but do you have like bucket list items? Like, if there's one place you could go anywhere to investigate something, what would it be?
Oh, so locally, I don't know. Locally, we have on like the docket that's kind of easily accessible for us is a place called Edgefield. And we covered that on one of our first episodes research-wise, but we haven't investigated in person. That is it started as like a poor farm here in Oregon. And we have this team of guys like restaurateurs called the McMiniman Brothers.
Yeah.
And they have all of these great historic places that they turn into breweries, hotels, restaurants. So they turned Edgefield into a hotel and winery. So we want to investigate there for sure. But that one we could kind of go out any weekend and do it. We just haven't really gone around to it.
For me, it's Skinwalker Ranch. Like,
so not locally, but
God.
that's the top of the list for me too.
I think just about any of us would like to go there.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, somebody I know went there last year or this year,
Was
and
Post Malone?
It was Post Malone. It was my good buddy, Post Malone. Yeah, he went there, and we talked about it. And Post Malone caught a really good video and sent it to me. And actually, it really is very good. And I'm like, you got to do something with that. They're like, I know. That's why I'm keeping it for now.
Yeah,
I'm like, I got you.
Smart. No, that's definitely bucket list item for me.
Yeah.
That's not local,
I think,
and I would camp for that. I would camp out in the cold. I'd be there.
Yeah, that one's worth it.
Yeah.
I think there's something about Skinwalker Ranch, or just like the Uinta Basin there is like, I think it's the key to everything.
Yep.
There's so many things happening there, and it's just like, I feel like a lot of the strangeness that happens all over is sort of tied to that area somehow.
Yeah.
Or at least it's the same phenomena, right?
Right,
And,
yeah.
Right. And they just
and it's got all of it, you know. It's got dog creatures and UFOs, obviously, and portals and poltergeists and
It's like a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
I love it. I would like to check out Mount Shasta as well. That's another spot I would camp for.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. That's a good pick. Yeah. It's it's hard to think of it. That's a hard question. Because then you're like, God, I'm just now dipping into my own backyard. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of places for sure.
It's it can be a little interesting. I like my location because I'm like 2 hours away from everything pretty much. 2 to 5 hours, it's a weekend trip. You can do it. You can get a cheap Airbnb, about $150 for the whole weekend. You're set.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, but I would love to go outside of that area. I'd like to go to Skinwalker Ranch. I'm going to.
Yeah.
It's I just need to sit down and plan it and go.
Yeah.
And, it's just a matter of doing that. But when you're so busy, when you get your hands full with so much stuff locally anyway, you're kind of like, well, why would I ever leave?
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's plenty to do.
right.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Plenty to do here. I'll be fine. So, I mean, what do you guys, obviously you started the show. Is it just because, I mean, did you start it? When did you start your show?
That's it's a perfect segue actually, because we started the show because of a road trip that we were taking down to Joshua Tree. And
Nice.
on the way there, for whatever reason, we were wanting to find out more about Skinwalker Ranch. So we were listening to podcasts about Skinwalker Ranch.
And we weren't podcast listeners before. So in the same summer that we created our podcast, it was like the first experience we ever even had with podcasts.
Okay.
So really it was because, our obsession with that and wanting more information. And it was hard to find, and not necessarily that they weren't out there, like that the information and the good podcasts weren't out there. We just couldn't search them properly. We were trying to do it while we were on the road trip already.
Right.
And then a lot of them I felt like, we were picking up and needed to already know about the hosts a little bit more, or it was just all information and not enough of a banter. And so we were like wanting to kind of create what we were looking for in that podcast. That we didn't really come across just yet. Of course, we have been introduced to so many great podcasts since joining the community, but we didn't really tap into that as outsiders.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right. And like I said, it's an oversaturated market, paranormal podcasts, right? There's so many. And there's so many good ones. So many good ones, and so you're never going to know them all, because by the time you get to know all of them, there's 50 more that just popped up in that time, and 20 of them are great out of that 50. So I mean, it just depends, that because you guys are also, as you mentioned, very much into the theater. You're into performance. And if anybody follows you guys on social media, that's obvious, right? You guys are really into that type of thing. And so I could definitely see coming into this as a type of performance art, as well as delivering information. So that's actually makes really good sense. It does. So when was this that you decided to start your own?
So that was, I think we first got interested in late summer of, let's see, what was it?
I'm scrolling to find the date.
It was like mid-pandemic. So like 2020.
2020. It was September 2020 is when we launched our Instagram page.
Yeah.
Wow, very cool. That's I think a lot of people started in 2020. I think it's obvious why.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that you guys are still doing it, though, is a huge testament to your passion for it. Because a lot of those 2020 podcasts just gave up.
Right.
Podcasting, it's something, especially to come and keep doing it. It's one of those things you have to keep doing it in order to be successful at it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just part of the algorithm, for one, and it's just part of, really anything that you do. I tell everybody, I've got all these people who are like, I want to start a podcast. I'm like, just do it. It won't be good at first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we had our phone with a little tiny microphone piece that just plugged into it at first, and no real rhyme or reason. Just kind of chatting about weird stuff. For sure.
Yeah, you just kind of, you just do it, and then you just learn as you go,
right.
And you continue to perfect that craft. I mean, even, looking at my own show, and, here I am with 2 brand new co-hosts,
Yeah.
That would happen, but it's okay. It's all right that these things change and morph and become what they are. So I think that is really neat. Have you guys thought about any, aside from like a YouTube channel, any other endeavors that's going to kind of mix the paranormal with your performance?
Yeah. So I'm actually, I've been writing a lot. So I've basically been looking into that. It's not really a performance piece, but we're also looking into documentaries. Obviously we're not the, producing side of things, but we did just we were just extras in a documentary about a place locally here, one of the oldest houses in Oregon City. It's not released yet. They're shopping it around currently, but it's great. And so we met a lot of great people through that, and they were interested in having us join on some next endeavors about our hometown and some of the historic homes here. So we are kind of looking into that. And I've also been wanting to get into voice work. That's something that really opened up during this. I was in theater, but I have like a weird thing about my own voice where I have a lisp a little bit. I don't know if, people who listen can probably tell. So I'm really coming out, like putting myself out there, just getting my voice out. And I found that I like it, and I like getting into character and getting spooky and, trying out different voices and things. So definitely want to be open to maybe recording some audiobooks for people and going that route with some things.
You do have a great voice for it.
Thank you.
That was kind of my thing listening to your intros, and you sound great. I mean,
Thanks.
It sounds very professional, and I'd hire you. I don't know what to hire you on, but maybe I'll create something just
perfect. I'm all yours.
Just to get you on here. Joss, what about you? Are you trying to kind of mix your creative endeavors with your paranormal lifestyle, or?
I'm in a band called Foxglove, and it seems like all of the songs that I write are about like death or hauntings or, being a ghost or something, kind of like that. And it's, which is, I don't know, it's kind of a, I guess, standard musician trope to write about sad things. But those are my favorite songs, is when I get to like talk about, there's, ghosts floating in the halls and they're saying crazy things or whatever, and I like the graphic design side of stuff a lot. I do all of our episode artwork and all of our logos and t-shirt designs and stuff like that. So that's a fun way for me to kind of flex the design muscles when we need something like that for our show.
I think that's the first time I ever got to connect with you guys at all. Is because you had done a design for somebody. I can't remember who, and I don't know. And then I was like, "Who are these people?" Interesting.
I think that was Aaron from Hey Strangeness.
Oh, it probably was. That makes sense.
I did his hand logo with the eyeball in it.
Yeah,
cool.
That's probably what it was then. Because another thing, again, artists in this community are oversaturated, but the good thing about it is that the different artists have different styles, and so therefore you can kind of pick and choose, what you're into. And I'll tell you, for being weird, spooky topics and like the cryptid community and the UFO community more so, there's not like a lot of alternative people in those spaces. The Bigfoot people are like the big burly bearded men, right? And then
it's actually really fair. That's actually a really good observation.
Right? Isn't that what they all wear hats? Yes, that's right. Yeah,
a lot of hats in the cryptid community.
A lot of hats in the cryptid community, and and then the UFO community, it's just kind of, there's kind of more of a mix of everybody in that, but a lot of college dudes, you know what I mean? Like a lot of frat boys, I think is what they're called. I don't know. So anyway, my point is finding like good artwork that really represents, my own taste is difficult. So I'm trying to compliment you. I'm just doing it in a really thank you way.
I appreciate it. Those are the best kind, where you're like, was that for me, or was that just a tangent?
Right.
I'll take it.
It's both.
It's fine.
I think that I think that's awesome. I'm not a creative person at all, so I'm always like, you guys blow my fucking mind when you guys go out there and create shit. I'm like, what? Because I can't do anything. I'm just me. Like that's what I'm good at. Being me.
Yeah, but you're killing it. So that's what's
important. For sure.
Yes. Thank you. So anyway, let me pull my questions back out. We were talking about other stuff. I got away from my questions. So what do you guys, you kind of mentioned a little bit about it, right? Joss has his band and so on and so forth. What do you guys do outside of this? Like, what are your general interests and hobbies outside of the paranormal?
Yeah, so we, let's see, what do we do? I write, we mentioned that. We are part-time models.
Yeah.
Cue Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah.
We do some modeling locally here, just with actually specifically it started at the super haunted location that was our wedding venue and has now been turned into a restaurant and speakeasy. So we do some work with them.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's why we got into that. So we just jokingly say we're part-time models. But we love hanging out with friends and family. Board games, tabletop games, super into those. And
I do a little prop building.
Oh yeah,
from time to time, which is pretty fun.
Lightsabers.
For what?
Just
that's sick.
For
I
you?
build lightsabers, yeah, just for myself.
Oh.
I have a whole collection. I'm a super nerd when it comes to Star Wars, and I'm a Ghostbuster.
Oh yeah,
for the Portland Ghostbusters, which is a charity cosplay organization raising money for Dornbecker Children's Hospital, and it's pretty fun.
Various groups.
Just
That's
like
awesome.
literally any excuse to put on a proton pack, I am down for that.
That's sick. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that is really neat. I love that. I like to dressing up is a great time. You know, it's adult pretend playtime, right?
Oh yeah,
super fun. I love that stuff. And then I mean, you guys always look so well put together. I'll tell you that. You know, at least that is my assumption, is that you're always well put together. I guess I do too, and that's the one time I ever post pictures. But like 90% of the time, I don't have eyebrows on, and I'm probably not wearing pants.
Same. I dress like Adam Sandler, like most of the time.
I love that.
I'm dressed like Adam Sandler right now.
Currently, yeah, perfect. No, I
What's
do
your
love
favorite Adam Sandler movie? I'm just kidding. We won't go there.
That's what I'm channeling.
Uncut Gems.
Yeah, that's the one I'm channeling specifically.
Perfect.
I like how Joss had an answer at the ready. He's like, I've thought about this.
Yeah.
I tried to specifically, I was like, what is the least Adam Sandler movie there is?
Yeah, the
true.
most unhinged possible one to connect him.
Oh, that's really funny. Kenzie, do you have questions? I guess I just haven't really asked you if you had any so far.
I don't, but not because I'm not interested, but just because I'm really bad at coming up with questions to ask people. Okay. And everything that I've wanted to know, Ashley has already asked. So, and I'm sure everything she's going to ask is stuff that I want to know. So.
Okay, fair enough. What's your guys'
Sorry.
Sorry, that was our dog. He's perpetually sort of like in our laps and
he has
hanging
a
out.
question.
Apparently he does.
Yeah.
He's barking at something.
Goodness.
Hey,
or a comment.
Sorry.
There's ghosts in the house.
I mean,
no, it's fine.
Honestly, it is funny. Every time we sit down to record a podcast or something, there's a bunch of weird stuff that starts happening in our house, like creaking doors, and like I got tapped on my shoulder during one of our episodes, and it just freaked Monique out. Yeah. Our apartment was built in like 1921 or something like that. It's super old. So
wow.
There's some.
That's very good. What was the topic when you got tapped? Do you remember?
Yes.
What was it?
We were talking about one of our mutual friends who had passed away.
That's right.
Yeah. So that was cool for sure. Yeah.
Well, it's super wholesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Wow. What do you guys have a favorite episode that you've done so far?
I think Skinwalker Ranch for me. We did a two episode arc on that guy, and that was the first time actually that I was like really thinking people can hear this because I forgot. I was like really heavy into the research, and then we got off on these tangents, and Joss put it out, and I was like, I forgot what I said, but I did this bit about Brandon Fugel, who's the current owner of Skinwalker Ranch, about how he seems very just strange and very much like I'm a regular human. And so I was joking about that he seems kind of like an alien, but in an endearing way. I love it. And then like the next week, his wife started following me on Instagram.
No.
And I was like, what if she hates me? And she thought that was totally weird. So I just thought that was super interesting. And that was the first time I was like, oh, great. Like people can really hear what I'm saying. I want to be authentic, of course, and still get my ideas out there. But I was like, maybe I need to be more mindful about this. But I loved the research of that. I that's the one I dove into so much, and we put it off for a while because I wanted to be really well versed in the topic before we tackled it. So that was sort of like a love thing, and we're always going to pick it back up, with more information as it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Well, yeah, it's still an ongoing investigation. Right. So for sure, there's going to be more, eventually. It is easy to get lost. No, you're fine. It's easy to get lost in these topics and, forget that these are real people behind them, and that's just something that, you have to kind of keep in mind going forward. But, like you said, you have to give good information and be yourself and share your opinions while also not like eviscerating these people.
Right.
It's just a part of it. Joss, what about you? Do you have a favorite episode to date?
Yeah, I think my favorite episode is Bob Lazar. The thing about the Bob Lazar case that really got me. So if you're not familiar with Bob Lazar, he was a whistleblower that came forward in the 80s who on like a local news station was like, I researched and helped to reverse engineer some alien craft, and I worked at the secret place, and like totally just put all this information out there, and immediately was, kind of shot down as some kooky guy.
A hoaxer,
And then pretty recently, within the last couple of years, Jeremy Corbell did a documentary about Bob Lazar, and it deals a lot with Bob Lazar's current life and where he is now. And Jeremy Corbell comes up with this piece of technology that Bob Lazar talked about in the 80s that was like this hand scanner thing that they used to enter the facility. And at the time, people were saying that doesn't exist. He's full of shit, all this stuff. But Jeremy Corbell found it. He found the thing. And just the look of relief on Bob Lazar's face when he sees that, he's like, hey, that's it. That's the thing. And that specific moment of just pure, genuine, like, he wasn't like, I told you. He was just like, oh my God, that's it. So like, up until that point, maybe he even thought that he was crazy, but it's like, you can tell he's got some sort of emotion about it that you're just like, that dude's telling the truth. And ever since then, I've been super obsessed with Bob Lazar.
Can you imagine being Bob Lazar? I mean, really, because I'll put it out there. When we did the Area 51 episode, my opinion at the time was that I don't know. I didn't know that I believed Bob, and now that opinion's, I would love to do a whole episode on Bob Lazar now, because that opinion's changed. What with the UFO disclosure movement happening, or I'm sorry, UAP, my bad. Let me say the right thing, or people are gonna think I don't know my stuff. Anyway, a lot of what they're saying is backing up what Bob has been saying all this time.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, he's kind of having this moment where he's like, told you so,
Yeah. He's being validated. Everything that he said is being validated in real time.
Yeah. And up until this point, he's always just been crazy Bob Lazar, aside from a few weirdos, that like him. And so I can't imagine having to wait that long to get that validation. That's terrible.
Yeah.
But also, like, good that it finally came,
Yeah.
It just, imagine having that knowledge.
Yeah.
And just knowing for sure, like, oh yeah, no, they have like 10 or 12 of these craft and they're just hanging on to them. And that's and just factual information.
But no one's going to believe it.
Yeah. Right.
That's crazy. So love his story. Super into Bob Lazar.
Very cool. Are there topics that you guys really, really want to cover in the near future or plan to cover? I know some of it does take a long time, like our Skinwalker Ranch video. And like Kenzie knows, like right now with the show and the way it goes is I plan this show 3 months in advance. I have 3 months of topics right now. Wow. I know what I'm going to talk to you guys about in March. So But the reason why I did it that way was directly inspired by the Skinwalker Ranch episode, because I didn't just want to give myself a week to research it. I gave myself months to research it. And that was one that I really wanted to cover, but I really wanted to do it right. Do you guys feel like right now you have topics like that in mind?
Yeah, that's actually something that we struggled with too with our Skinwalker episode, is like, I think that the first installment was late when we released it, and the second installment was like really late. And it was because we were trying to absorb all this information and kind of make sense of it and piece it together. But something that's sort of happening now is Monique she does all the research. She's the brains of the operation for sure. But she's got notes on tons of things, just kind of like squirreled away, that she's been kind of piecing together as we go. So when it comes time to actually do that, she's like, I have most of it already.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think
that's smart.
I think my thing, I mean, I'd like to be so much more prepared, and I have this thing where I have to feel it. So I have this list of topics. I'll be sort of researching all of them simultaneously. And if Joss is like, oh, let's do this one next week, I'm like, I don't know. And I don't even start the narrative or getting into it until I have like that spark.
I can understand that.
Yeah, I have to be feeling it in the moment. And that doesn't mean I won't pick that one up next. But another issue I have is I want to start doing like bigger concepts. So rather than just like a specific poltergeist case, I've been thinking about, I have this thing where I'm tying these poltergeist cases together. And I have this theory that I'm developing. And the theory is out there. I came upon it on my own, and then I researched it, and it's really interesting. So I want to cover sort of more of that, like as a general paranormal concept, than just like one-off known things, right? So
yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay.
without like no spoilers.
Yeah, like I'm trying to kind of say, because I do want to come out with this, but yeah, basically, and like things like telekinetic powers rather than just one topic, or psychic mediums, like in general, maybe do an arc on that. But yeah, we have a few that we're working on, a few poltergeist cases, and really missing people has been fascinating me for a while since we did an initial like missing 411 coverage one. So that's something that I've really wanted to get back into and start kind of revisiting things we did early on that are just more open-ended than we could accomplish in one episode. Also past life memories. Yeah, that one blew my mind and really challenged me, because I'm like, I don't know what I believe about this. That's something I have to really set down, because at first I was just doing cases that I knew, okay, this aligns with my belief. I believe this person. I really like this. I want to start doing more cases that maybe I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And scrutinize it in that way, not just ones that align with what I agree with or think really happened, or really trust.
And it gives yourself the opportunity to kind of maybe change your opinion on it as well too. Maybe you talk about it and say, you know what, actually I didn't see it from that perspective, and maybe I do believe this now. Kind of gives you a chance to open that up as a possibility a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's why when we do a topic on this show, one of my first, whomever it's going to be at the time, one of my first questions to the co-host is, what's your history with this? Did you believe in it before? Do you, we'll kind of go over at the end. You guys know you're here listening to the show, you listen to it. So we'll kind of go over at the end, whether or not that changed. I think that's it's fun to see that process, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
As a listener, I like to hear that perspective. But if you're going to look into past lives, if you don't already know, I'm just going to throw this tip out there. Look up The Boy from Mars.
Okay. Yeah.
Just write it down somewhere. Just Google it. It's all you need to Google. You'll find it. Very interesting case. Well, we did an episode on it. Go back and listen to the episode on it here on the Wednesday show. It's very interesting.
Yeah, love that.
So very, very neat.
That is something that is really cool too about the the podcast community, and like, just because you guys did a Boy from Mars episode, like there's room for multiple shows to do it because everybody's kind of got their own personality and their own take. And
yeah.
I love to go back and listen like, oh, you know, this show did Bob Lazar too. Like I want to go back and listen to what they thought
See
about
what they
it.
have
and
on
then
it. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. There's something about the, it's almost like a conversation, but it's like happening months apart.
Yeah. Not in real time.
Yeah. Gives you a chance to pick up on any information you might have missed too.
Right. Yeah.
I do it. When I'm researching a topic, I'll listen to other people's shows just to kind of, prep and see where I should start if they say anything. Like the one tidbit that I'll never forget it is when we did the Goat Man episode, and Pat brings up this podcast he listened to where they were talking about how the Goat Man rapes people all the time, apparently.
Oh,
oh my gosh.
Fuck.
And I'm like, I didn't come across that anywhere in my but like it's interesting because then it's like, okay, well, let's look into those claims. And I'm not saying like let's debunk other podcasters, but like I would have never even thought to look into that because I didn't come across it. Now, granted, we were recording the episode, so I never did. Well, I kind of did. I was like, let me see, and I couldn't really find anything. So I don't know where they got that from, but that's anyway. It gives you new and different information, and some people might have different information just based off of like where they are.
Yeah.
Like if you're like a local researcher in your area, you're gonna have stories that aren't out there on the Wikipedia or whatever,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's not a bad
perspectives,
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's not a bad idea to, bounce off of each other. I agree with that. This table is massive and there's room for everybody to sit on it, or at it or on it, whichever you prefer.
Whatever your table preference is. Yeah.
We're wild and weird. We sit on tables. It's fine. So anyway, that's what I think.
I love it. Yeah, same.
So your guys' next episode, because I see where your last episode came out. I'm assuming you guys have an episode at the ready or almost at the ready. Am I wrong about that?
So it's actually funny you said that. We were sort of hyping ourselves up to do this show today, and part of the conversation was, oh shit, we have to record an episode this weekend, and like we got to find a topic. And again, Mo has all these things that are like sort of halfway, 3/4 way done that we could pull from. But if it's not something that's like, we're not feeling that in the moment, sometimes, the day before we're going to record, we'll sit down and just like binge documentaries and podcasts and like, scrolling through Google articles and all this stuff, just like hours before to really.
And by we, he means me. I'll do that. But he'll do the cover art.
To be fair,
the episode art.
I'll be making delicious breakfast, lunch, dinner, bringing drinks and snacks
all the snacks
the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, so he's your like support. He's like your water boy.
That's, exactly right.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Speaking of Adam Sandler.
There we go. Bringing it full circle.
Yeah. So
right
now,
Adam Sandler.
I love it. I love it. I am looking into the Red Barn murder.
Okay.
Right now. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Well, I was just wondering if it was going to be holiday related, I guess was more my question.
Okay. Not so much. The holiday related one I'm kind of toying with, like Christmas time, was more like prophetic dreams and like miracles. So that is something I'm working on.
Oh,
yeah.
Very cool. That's something that's not real. I feel like isn't talked about ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of like sightings of, guardian angel, whether I believe in that or not, there's a lot of sightings like at accident sites, emergency situations. So that's kind of at the ready too. That'll be a little bit later.
Very cool. Very neat. Well, I don't want to, I want to talk to you guys forever for the rest of our lives, but it's also late on a Monday night, so I get it. But, well, you guys are, I'm 3 hours ahead of you.
Yeah, we're solid. Thanks for staying up for us, for sure.
We're good. But
totally worth it. Totally worth
for
it.
Sure.
Thank you.
But instead, why don't I have you guys come back on and we'll do a topic together. We'll collab on a topic. I don't know what yet. Like I said, this will happen until probably the spring because I already have 3 months of shows planned. But we'll bring you back on. We'll do something together, and I think that would be a lot of fun. Where can people find you guys?
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram. We're just at Fright Life Paranormal. We don't currently have a Facebook or Twitter, X now. But you can also find us at our website, frightlifeparanormal.com, where we've got, all of our past episodes are there. We have a merch store and
all of our linkables,
all of our link and a contact page if you want to send us a message.
Awesome. Okay. Well, again, thank you guys for taking the time out and, coming on the show. I know I kind of sprung it on you a little bit, but you made the room and I appreciate you for it. I just also want to take the time right now to thank the listeners for being so patient with me while I just went through 6 months of guest appearances on the show. I know you guys love the topics. We are getting back into the topics. It's been great, and hopefully you have found some new people to look into if you're not typically into this stuff. I did try to bring on quality folks and also folks that not the big names. Big names are fine, but there's a whole community of all these weirdos out here that you should be following and you should be submerging in their contents and looking into their stuff. That's kind of what makes it fun, right? Is meeting other people that have the same weird interests that you do. So with that being said, guys, we will see you back here next Wednesday.